Yeah, everyone, this is Thermites, and this is the weekly updates. The very first link down below is Weekly Shonen Jump. Please check it out. And right below that, one layer deeper, you got Chainsaw Man. We have done the aging arc. At the very least, I assume this span is considered to be the aging arc. There's a little bit before as well, I guess, might also be, you know, you get it. You get it. But yeah, great batch of chapters. We're essentially like two batches from catching up now. There's one more that's like an actual like beginning and end, and then there's however much is past that. So, I'll catch up to whatever the most recent chapter is once I'm there, which will probably be a chapter more than like we're already at, because it should be like 2 weeks or so. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. But yeah, Chainsaw Man, great as always. Had a really good time with it. Slight warning. There's definitely a bit where I go on a real misunderstanding tangent, but I come back around. I figure it out for the most parts. Now that I've said that, I'm sure there's something else that I just straight up did misunderstand that no one's told me about yet, and you're gonna see that and go, "Oh, okay. I remember the trigger warning. You figured this out, surely." And then you're gonna get to the very end. I didn't figure it out, and I still haven't figured it out. But there's something there. So there's at least one thing that might make people really mad that I do, in fact, resolve in the video. Extremely rare, unbelievably rare. In actual Jump news, though, Akane-banashi continues to slap. One Piece, I'm so excited for what we're about to do in One Piece. I'm genuinely so excited. I mean, like, you get it. You get it. If you're not reading One Piece, it wouldn't mean anything to you. If you are reading One Piece, you get it. So, fair enough. Elusive Samurai, great as always. Sakamoto Days, I don't. It may have just been like when I was recording it or whatnot, because this one's a pretty fast reaction. And I don't know if this chapter deserved the speed at which I went through it, but I don't know. Like, it's a pretty short reaction, but also, it's a pretty straightforward chapter. So maybe it's okay. We'll see. We've got, of course, the new series, Kaede. It's not Kaede-banashi, right? It's Kaedegami. Yes. But yeah, great first chapter. Like, I'll say it directly. We'll see what the status quo is. Like, in the next two chapters, hopefully we'll get more of a taste of, like, what is each arc going to be like? What's the vibe of the series going forward? This was a great first chapter for sure, but, you never truly can say, like, how is this going to shake out? How gripping is this going to be? What are the hooks? I mean, I don't know if I even brought up Dororo in the reaction itself. I must have done it at least once, but definitely a similar vibe to it. Dororo by way of Nue's exorcist, perhaps, though to be fair, Nue is also cracked out of its mind right now, positive. And I wouldn't say the same thing about, like, the vibe of the series. This does feel way more, like, straightforward in terms of what we're gonna do here. But yeah, so that's that. I'll catch you next week for next jump and some more stuff as well. Continue to check out the Patreon. I got some stuff out there that's getting really spicy. I mean, it's been spicy. It's been spicy for a while. It will continue to be spicy. But also Donuts pumping out Bleach, pumping out other stuff as well. Putting out some Ishinomori content on the actual, like, mainline channel as well, which I'm very happy about. As someone who likes Kamen Rider a lot, likes Super Sentai a lot, has always been on the, the grind of, like, well, someday I'm gonna check out the rest of Ishinomori's stuff. Surely I will. Surely I will. I have not. I truly have not. And so it's very nice to have Donuts, like, doing the work, going through these arcs. I'm gonna say it pretty transparently. I do definitely watch reactions for stuff that I'm never going to, like, watch by myself first. You should ideally watch the thing first and then experience it through a reaction, because you're gonna get a bias. You're gonna get, like, also the person's not going to linger on everything to the same degree that you would linger on it. Also, they may color your expectations of what the series is like, what the vibe is like. I do think Donut's honestly pretty good at both being, like, someone who has a very clear, like, like, voice, very clear opinions, very clear, like, biases and energies and whatnot. But, he still has reactions where you can, like, get basically everything from the manga through the reaction, plus more. I mean, especially for the ones he does like heavy editing on. Those are the ultimate like plus mores. But even the ones where it's very light editing, still, it is a great experience. There's so much stuff that he's read that I just go like, oh, I'm so glad someone else read it so I can watch the reaction to it. But yeah, that's that. Gonna continue on the Chainsaw Man train for the like new uploads. I might record a thing or two, like in the meantime as well. But I want like if I'm making a promise, it's Chainsaw Man because number one, that's something I'm actually doing. I'm actually consistently putting them out, and I do want to get to the end point of being caught up, and then after that point, I think I'm probably going to read it in like pseudo volumes more or less. We'll see how it goes, but I do think I'm honestly enjoying it a lot more. I mean, if you'll indulge me for a second, I was talking with Donut recently, and we were talking about the concept of like series that are better in volumes versus series that are better like serialized. And we've talked about this for like years and years and years and years at this point through various conversations. But this time it really hit me that like, oh yeah, that's applicable to Jump as well. Let me pull up the list real fast. Like in terms of things that I am currently reading right now. Like I think genuinely you can split it right down the middle in terms of let's see. Zoop. Yeah, like Akane, Akane, I think I underrate a lot of time weekly, but also at the same time, it's a series where like we're always building up to a big climactic thing. It's usually Akane's performance or like what is she gonna do or how is she gonna course correct. Like like the series is something that has very clear like peaks and valleys, and the valleys aren't bad necessarily, but it's a lot of characterization, it's a lot of like internal struggle, it's a lot of like bringing up theory or bringing up like examples of things and working through them and like building out the question of okay, well, how are we going to solve the problem? How like what is Akane going to do when she's at one of those peaks? Like how does she go from where we might be peaking but we might also fall off to like nope, we're going up, climax and then falling down. And while I am a big fan of series that can do that, weekly, I don't think I can appreciate it that much. The series, that was running when I started this channel, Promised Neverland, a series that I really like. Plenty of chapters I would have ranked very lowly, or that I did rank very lowly, and I would have ranked like earlier ones, lowly as well, because fundamentally, like there's a lot of chapters I'm just like, you know how it is. This is an okay chapter. Whereas, like, yeah, like Ichi, I would say honestly, does not really have that feeling. Every chapter of Ichi is really good. The chapters that are set up, like that's the thing. I'm not saying that manga shouldn't do setup. Ichi is a series where, like, in every arc we've ever done, the buildup is really good. The initial, like, how, like, what is, what are the stakes? What are we doing here is always good. When we introduce someone, it's really good. When we're just like exploring their deal, it's really good. Like every part of the current arc of the Bakugami arc has been incredibly good week to week to week to week. This is one that we're 100% like, yeah, I would not want to read it in volumes. I want to read it weekly. Beethoven probably would have been better in volumes, like especially with like the American plots. Like it's fine. The American plot's definitely designed to keep you reading weekly, but it's the kind of thing that like because it interrupts the part of the series I'm very into. It does give me this feeling of like, I kind of wish I had more chapters altogether in order to like flip flop between them, so I can appreciate both plot lines for what they are, and when they intersect, I can feel really good about it. Oter, so far, I mean, hard to tell because we're so early in, but Oter is feeling to me like one that I do want to read weekly. Like, so far, the mangaka's done a very good job of every week saying, like, here's what you like. Here's what's really good about this. Here's, like, like a new wrinkle to explore. Here's, like, some, like, explanation of something we've already seen, but now we're, like, broadening it out, and that's really interesting in its own right. Here's more of Oter. Here's more of the world. A lot of it's, like, here's more of the world. I mean, this chapter is fantastic for that. Such a fun chapter. Like, genuinely, really hope this isn't like an anomaly chapter. Really hoping we get more of that, like over the course of the series. That even when we do get more serious overall, when we start to do way more, like like this is a super serious arc. We're fighting the Espada or whatever. I would like it if we could continue to like have this fun energy and that we don't like get too serious. Kaedegami probably for these two probably it's too early to tell. But Kaedegami, I'm hoping has a very like slice and wolf feel to it. In which case, like it would be very good at like each chapter weekly is really good. Harukaze Mound, I mean, I think I have an inherent bias against it, so it's probably one that would be better for me if, the entire thing was finished and I read it at my own pace. That's a lot of sports stuff, honestly, not gonna lie. Because I do think a lot of sports stuff is fundamentally built around the peaks and the valleys, Like the games are your peaks, and even within the games, you have to have peaks and valleys, especially as the games go longer and longer and longer. But like anything that isn't a game, it's tough to to maintain interests. Like Blue Box, which sorry homie, still haven't caught up. But Blue Box gets around this via being also like a relationship series. And so when we're not doing the sports stuff, we're doing relationship stuff and having peaks and valleys there, or like a lot of peaks. A lot of it is like when we're not peaking in the sports, we're peaking with relationship stuff. When we're not peaking relationship stuff, it's because we're doing sports stuff and they feed into each other. They're always because it means so much to both main characters. Like how they're doing in their given sport reflects the rest of the arcs. Elusive Samurai, God Tier Weekly. I think basically everything in the live stream should, by its very nature, be something where it's like, yeah, weekly, this is incredible, incredible, incredible. Sakamoto Days, I think, is like the exception. Samurai, I do think genuinely every week I'm so fucking happy. Samurai makes me happy to be alive. Sakamoto Days, I could give or take. Again, how long was this reaction? Like 5 minutes? But yeah, it's not that it's bad. It's just, maybe it would have been better to like read it in volumes. One Piece, obviously, I can do it weekly, easy peasy. And Roboco, I think, is probably only good weekly. Like I'm sure if I read the volumes, I'd enjoy them, but that's also because I'm reading it weekly. There's so much about Roboco, whether it's like, the tie-ins, the gags, the like, just also like the fact that it is like, it's the thing you want to save for like the end of Jump. You want it to reflect on everything else. You want to like take a break to go, what the fuck is happening here? Why is this the craziest thing? What do you mean the craziest thing in the world happened in One Piece, but Roboco's even crazier somehow? Like, I think it is the epitome of a good gag comedy, and I think Jump needs something something like that, something where like even if you don't read Roboco, like even if it's not a series you're like super into every week, you can always read the Roboco chapter, and I think you're getting like 90% of what you need to get out of it. It's crazy. Ah. But yeah, like I think it actually shakes out pretty cleanly that like anything in the live streams should probably be a good experience weekly. It's why Ichi should probably be in the live stream, and also I don't want the live stream to get too big. Don't want it to get too big. But it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. Okay. That's that. I've spent way too long talking about this, but I wanted to talk about it with someone. And I've already talked about it before, but I want to talk about it again. That's the point of having a channel, isn't it? Okay, that's that. That's that. We're done. We're done, Zoe. If you listened to all of this, thank you so much for doing it. You are my therapist. I will catch you on the flip side for the next Jump. Yeah, nothing else coming out on the channel this week, so I'll catch you for the next Jump upload. Bye for now. Yeah.